Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Hussey's Huddle. In this video, we're going to do a couple things. One is I'm going to predict the starting quarterback for every CFL team at the start of the 2022 season before all the madness starts with free agency, contract negotiations, and all that. And I'm also going to reveal what I got for Christmas as it relates to the channel and what you're going to be seeing me wear in videos. And I mean, you're looking at one thing right here, a new microphone. So really excited to reveal that. But really quickly, before we get started, if you want to support the show, the best way to do it is by hitting the like button and subscribing to Hussey's Huddle for more CFL content just like this. I greatly appreciate it, guys. And with that said, let's get on with the video. Okay, starting with what I got for Christmas. And man, my girlfriend is the best, honestly. Just so many fitting gifts for the channel. And she knows how much this channel really means to me. So what you're going to be seeing me wear in videos, you're seeing me wear one right now. A new Montreal Alouettes t-shirt here. The first piece of Montreal Alouettes merchandise that I actually own, so really excited to wear this and represent the Alouettes in videos because they're actually one of my more favorite teams in the CFL, at least to watch. And then another t-shirt my girlfriend got, BC Lions, of the Indigenous logo that was designed this year. I just really like this logo. It's just so artistic. I hope they use it more in the years to come, but great shirt. Looking forward to wearing this in videos. And then an Angelo Mosca t-shirt. I mean, this is just awesome. Honestly, like my girlfriend went above and beyond this Christmas, so really excited to wear these shirts on the channel, and then obviously hoping the audio is coming through clear for you guys with the new microphone. Hopefully it improves a lot of the quality of the audio on this channel, which has been kind of an issue throughout the duration of my channel. So those are just the things I got for Christmas. And I also want to announce, I announced this on my Twitter account the other day, but I don't think a lot of you guys follow me on Twitter. So I actually did buy a CFL jersey the other week there, and it's currently being made. And when it arrives, I will, the next video I make when it arrives, I will reveal it in a video. So really excited to reveal that. And if you guys want to guess in the comment section what Tiger Cats player I got, because it was a Tiger Cats jersey, just let me know in the comments. But with that said, let's get on with the rest of the video. Okay, now, so moving on to my list of the starting quarterbacks at the beginning of the 2022 CFL season. And I really just wanted to put this out here before everything starts to happen in terms of, retirements, free agency, and all that. Just to give my just basic predictions. I know a lot of this is going to be inaccurate, but I just want to put it out there and see how much I get right. So, I mean, we're going to start with the obvious ones, the things that I just don't see teams making a change at the quarterback position, just the incumbent coming back. So I think Saskatchewan with Cody Fajardo, as much as I think Saskatchewan may look at other options, I just don't think there's a better one out there that's just an immediate upgrade unless they try to go with Mike Riley and think he's, a massive upgrade to what they have. But I really just don't think that Saskatchewan's really going to seriously explore replacing Cody Fajardo as their starting quarterback this offseason. He's under contract for next year. So I think that Saskatchewan's going to ride with Cody Fajardo going into 2022. Winnipeg with Zach Collaros, who is technically a free agent. I just don't think Collaros is going anywhere. He's been around this league. He's searched for this success, and coming off back-to-back championships, I think not just him, but I think a lot of these other key core Winnipeg Blue Bombers guys, Adam Bighill, Stanley Bryant, all those guys are going to want to come back and try to go for 3 next year. So I think Collaros is staying right where he is in Winnipeg. Vernon Adams in Montreal, I think this is obvious because they released Trevor Harris and they gave Vernon Adams a contract extension for next year already. So he's going to be their guy next year, and I'm very excited to see what he can do and if he can stay healthy next year. And then Bo Levi Mitchell, I think this may be the most controversial one out of these 4, but I think they're going to give him another year. I think it was obviously a terrible season from him this year, but I think that just given his past and how well he's performed, how much of a legend he is with the organization, I think they're going to give him another year at least to figure out these problems. And hopefully, when you look at the quarterbacks around the league this year, not a lot of them had above average seasons. So I think they're just banking on a bounce back from Mitchell next year. So I think they'll bring him back again. All right, now let's get into the teams that I think that are possible to switch their quarterback going into next year. And some of these are going to remain the same, but I just want to explain because I think there's a possibility of them bringing in another option. So starting with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I think a lot of the questions surrounding this team this offseason really rely on what are they going to do with this quarterback position. And I think a lot of the questions around the league, because these two quality guys that are becoming free agents this offseason in Dane Evans and Jeremiah Masoli. And I talked about this in a lot in my last video, that they could potentially even go a third option here and bring in a veteran from around the league. So I'm really interested to see what they do this offseason. But my prediction is that they bring back Dane Evans. He's significantly younger than Jeremiah Masoli. I think he's 5 years younger than him. And, I think Evans has shown a lot in his limited time as a CFL starter. Obviously, 2019 had a great run there in bringing them to the Grey Cup, and obviously comes in the East Final this year, has a great performance against Toronto, and actually gets them to the Grey Cup. Obviously, the Grey Cup did not go the way that he wanted against Winnipeg in either of the last two seasons, but I think that Hamilton should still believe in him more than Jeremiah Masoli, at least, and I'm really interested to see if this is what they do ultimately, because, Jeremiah Masoli's been a part of this organization for a long time now. He's very well liked in the building, I'm sure, so it's going to be really interesting to see if they decide to cut the cord with Jeremiah Masoli and go with Dane Evans, but it's going to be a tough decision either way, and I think it's going to solve a lot of the questions around the league when it comes to the quarterback position this offseason. Now, just down the road in Toronto, I'm really interested to see what the Argos do with their quarterback position this offseason. Are they going to go all in on McLeod Bethel-Thompson, or are they going to bring in some serious competition for him? I mean, Bethel-Thompson really regressed down the stretch this season, throwing a lot of interceptions, not playing his best in terms of the playoff game against Hamilton. So I'm really interested to see what they do with this position this offseason. But ultimately, I do think he is their day one starter next season. I do think they're going to bring in one of these younger, interesting backups. I think maybe Jake Mayer is a possibility here. I think it would be a great fit, potentially as a way to, has the opportunity to move up and eventually overtake McLeod Bethel-Thompson as the starter in Toronto. So I think it's really interesting to see if they bring in a very qualified backup here, but I think McLeod Bethel-Thompson is ultimately going to be their guy. I think they really showed their cards when they traded Nick Arbuckle in the middle of the season this year, that they really wanted to give McLeod Bethel-Thompson the chance to be the guy in Toronto. So I think that's ultimately what they're going to do in 2022. Now moving on to the Ottawa Redblacks here, and I think there's a lot of different ways this could go because of how poor this quarterback position went this year for this team. I mean, I think you have some interesting young options in Caleb Evans that you could potentially look to build around, but I really don't see them starting him day one next year. I think they'll give him an opportunity to compete for that starting job. But I think the perfect guy to come in and compete with Caleb Evans is Trevor Harris. I think it just makes too much sense for a reunion here between Harris and the Red Blacks. Marcel Desjardins, the guy he had a bad contract negotiation with a couple years ago, he is now gone. And I think that any potential bad blood between him and the organization could potentially be water under the bridge at this point. And I think it's possible that they bring him back. Say what you want about Trevor Harris. He can play in this league. He could be a good stopgap option for this team. Again, I think Caleb Evans actually has a lot of potential, but I think you have to give him time to learn the Canadian game. I mean, obviously thrown out there as a true rookie this year. I mean, didn't do him any favors. So I think Trevor Harris is a good fit for this team. They need a good stopgap option. I think I could see them bringing in one of the Hamilton guys because you got Sean Burke, who was from the Hamilton organization, now the GM in Ottawa. So they could bring in Masoli or Evans, whatever one the Hamilton doesn't re-sign either. A lot of people are projecting that as well. But I think Harris makes a lot of sense as a stopgap option for the Red Blacks in 2022. Okay, now jumping to the West Coast now with the BC Lions. And I mean, I think a lot relies on what Michael Riley is going to do this offseason. Is he going to retire? Is he going to decide to come back and try to play for the BC Lions? Because I think that in itself is kind of going to be potentially a struggle between him and the organization, because he is the highest paid quarterback in the league still. And it's going to be really interesting to see if the BC Lions would bring him back at that cap number, considering his performance and the team's performance over the last 2 years after him being a massive free agent signing from Edmonton a few years ago. And honestly, in this prediction, I'm going with Jeremiah Masoli to be the day one starting quarterback for the BC Lions in 2022. And the reason for this is because I think that the negotiations between Riley and the Lions are going to break down. And just because I think there's going to be disagreements about how well he's performed and lived up to that contract, like I said. And ultimately, I think they're going to let him go and let him go and choose his own path here and choose another team in the CFL. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen in BC. I really think they believe in Nathan Rourke, the Canadian quarterback, long term as their guy. He showed a lot of potential, but I don't think the same with Ottawa. I don't think he's ready to be that day one guy next year. So I think they'll bring in a guy like Jeremiah Masoli, who, I mean, I think will give them an extra year to let Rourke develop on the bench again. And I think Masoli, he still has plenty of good football left in him. He had his moments of, struggle this year with Hamilton, but I think he would be a good fit, a good stopgap fit again for the BC Lions going into 2022. And again, I think with the whole Mike Riley situation, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I could be totally wrong here, but I just think that's a really real possibility of happening, that things break down between Riley and the Lions and they bring in another veteran backup. Now, finally, I had to make a bold prediction for this video, honestly, because I think there's something that's going to be a crazy thing that happens with one of these quarterback situations on these teams this offseason. And I think the crazy thing that's going to happen is Michael Riley's going to return to Edmonton. I think it makes a lot of sense, actually, when you draw it up on paper. You have Chris Jones, who is coming back to the organization, who he won a Grey Cup with in 2015. He has a long history with the organization. Obviously, it broke down in 2019 free agency when, contract negotiations, they ended up signing Trevor Harris instead. But I think that Michael Riley coming back to Edmonton makes a lot of sense. I think Edmonton's going to make a lot of splashes this offseason and go really aggressive in free agency, like I said in my previous video with Chris Jones. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the Edmonton quarterback situation this offseason. And I know they signed Nick Arbuckle for next year, but honestly, I think that was done under the previous GM and head coach. So I think that he may not necessarily be in the plans for Chris Jones going into 2022. And Michael Riley is a guy that he's very familiar with. He can win right away with. And I think Riley actually has a lot of good football left in him. Honestly, I think I would still, it's really hard right now in the CFL, but I think I would still have him as like my number 2 or 3 quarterback in the CFL right now. I mean, I just don't really have much confidence in a lot of these other guys. So, I mean, Michael Riley, I think, has a good as chance of any as affecting and being a big difference maker as a quarterback on another team next year. So it's going to be really interesting to see if he chooses Edmonton, if he ends up being a free agent. This is, again, a very crazy prediction, but I think it's one that actually could come true. But you got to let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section. But with that said, that is going to be the end of today's video, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Once again, my name is Jason. If you want to support the show, the best way to do it is by hitting the like button and subscribing to Offseason for more CFL content just like this. I greatly appreciate it, guys. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Peace.